Start.
It says live, but it usually gives you a message.
Oh, yeah.
But it didn't do.
Okay. So I guess we get started. We've got about 19 seconds.
Okay, so we are live.
Good
evening.
Yeah,
Took us a minute to figure out if we were live or not.
Yep.
Good evening. Hey, Rick and Amanda. Hey, Mr. Parker. It is Wednesday, March 29th, and thank you for joining us for Couples Coaching 101. And please remember that anything that you post or comment in the comment sections is public. It's a public forum. If you have a private matter or concern, please send an email to lifewithoutlimitscc@gmail.com, and we'll happily address that for you. And at this time, we also want you to share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube videos. Like, comment, and share the video to folks on your Facebook pages and your links out there. So I'll turn it over to you, hon.
Okay. Thank you, baby. Well, tonight was, like Nashima said, is part 2. I've got a lot I want to cram into this little time. So it's part 2 of Man and Money. And, I get a lot of questions. People ask me all the time, hey, how do I create more income? How do I advance? How do I, excel? And of course, you probably say, well, George, what does this have to do with being a couple? What does this have to do with relationship? Well, it has a lot to do with relationship. Money is the number one challenge in a relationship. And I can think in our relationship, it's probably one of the biggest areas of discussion. And usually it's the lack of money and not the abundance of money. And so, and that's usually the number one reason why couples separate too, right? Yeah. It's usually involving money. And so last week, we just focused on the heading of working harder on yourself than you do on what you do. And this week, we're going to focus on growing your self-esteem and your self-concept. And a lot of people ask me, well, George, what's the difference between your self-esteem and your self-concept? Well, your self-concept is how you see yourself, and your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. And both of those are important. And so tonight I'm going to be going over 10 things kind of quickly on how to build. And sweetie, you just jump in wherever you see fit. But on how to build. Now, number one is start where you are. A lot of people have destination thinking, we call it. And that's where when I get to that destiny or I get to that destination, I'm gonna be a lot better, or I'm gonna feel a lot better, or I'm gonna do a lot better. Well, the best place to get started is exactly where you are. And so that's number one. So you say, well, I don't like my job. Well, what do you like about your job? You say, well, I can't do that. Well, I know you can't do that, but what can you do? Sometimes we don't want to let what we can't do stop us from doing what we can do. So number 2, and I learned this from Dennis Waitley, and that is to set short-term goals. So set short goals because it's the success that you're really after. Success is a habit, and once you get in the habit of creating success, you're always able to create success. And so short-term goals will give you that, I like to set goals that, on Sunday night, and I can see myself achieving that goal by the end of the week. So short-term goals, because honestly, part of what we do is getting better from week to week. Okay. So, from month to month. And so it's little short-term, goals that will help you feel better about yourself, that'll help you grow yourself, and you'll really be able to, at the end of the year, you'll really be able to see where you've advanced and you've achieved. Number 3 is, what do you say about yourself to yourself? Now, we talk to ourselves all the time. Okay, we often tease about crazy people talking to themselves. Well, if that's the case, I'm the craziest man in America, okay? Because I definitely believe in talking to myself. And it's not what others say about me, it's what I say about me. It's not what others believe about me, it's what I believe. Now, in all honesty, in a relationship, I do care about what my wife thinks about me. Okay, that's very important to me. I do care about what my children think about me. Now, not all the time, but overall, I want to know how they think I'm doing. That's important to me. Okay, so I'm just talking about, a lot of times, you have people that mean well, but they think they know what's best for you. Nobody knows what's best for you better than you know what's best for yourself. And so it's not what others are saying to you, it's what you are saying to yourself. Okay? And what you say to yourself is what you'll earn and how you'll live. Okay? Okay. So that's so 1 is start where you are, 2 is set short-term goals, 3 is what do you say about yourself to yourself. But here's number 4. What have you been successful at in the past? We all have success in our past. Most of us do. Sometimes for some of us, we might have to dig a little bit. I know in the beginning, I really had to dig on, some of my successes, because sometimes, they kind of get covered up in some of the perceived failures. Okay. Which is that's another training within itself. Okay. Failure and what failure is. But so what have you been successful at in the past? Because a lot of times you can draw on that right there. You can build on any successes, whether it's been a little bit or whether it's been a lot. You can build on that success.
And I wanted just to say something right there about that, because a lot of times we bury what we've been successful at because we are replaying in our minds those things that people have said to us in the past. And they may no longer be saying that, but we're saying it to ourselves. We're questioning it. And so one of the things that I'm reminded of is in 1 Samuel 17, 34 through 36, where David actually talks about what he did to the lion and the bear. It was like, you just a young kid. What are you going to do to this Philistine? And he recited what he did and what he had been doing. He said, I've been taking care of these sheep. I've been out here day and night. I've been the one that's watching over. I'm the one who took the sheep out of the lion's mouth and fought them and killed them. So sometimes you have to go to that place within yourself to encourage yourself to figure out what it is that you've been successful at in the past and to continue growing yourself in that way.
And that's good, honey. That's a very good point. So in other words, David got strength in the present from successes that he had in the past. And sometimes we forget, like you said, and we have to be reminded, well, who better person to remind you of your success other than you? Okay, so that's good. Thank you, baby. Okay, so number 4 was what have you been successful at in the past? It's probably more of a question or retort. Number 5 is be open to trying new things you've never done. Even doing this, I got to be honest with you, baby. This is really... some weeks it's a challenge. Some weeks I feel like doing this, and some weeks I don't, quite frankly. Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of different. We're not getting paid to do this. Right. This is something that we really feel like in our hearts, we've been blessed with so much, abundantly, exceedingly, running over. Well, we just want to give back. A lot of times, it's good to leave breadcrumbs. It's good to leave a roadmap for others.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I think one of the reasons we've been able to do some of the things that we've been able to do is because others showed us. Others showed us the way, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So be open to trying new things that you've never done. The greatest fear is fear in itself. I've heard this before. Courage is not the absence of fear, but courage is feeling the fear but doing it anyway. Okay? So sometimes doing something that you've never done before is really, it's kind of awkward. It's kind of different. It's going to challenge you. But understand that most of it is because you've never done it before. You're in a new place. It's almost like if I told you to fold your hands together, right? And you fold them together. And what if I said, and right now I've got my right thumb over my left thumb. Well, what if I told you to put your left thumb over your right thumb? It's the same thing, but you know what? It feels so different. It's awkward. Okay? It doesn't feel good. So sometimes doing something different, doing something new is not going to feel good. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be different. Well, it's supposed to be. Okay? So number 5 is be open to trying some new things. I can remember back in 1996, when you introduced us, encouraged us to try network marketing.
Made us go.
Yeah, I was totally close to it, and I was upset at her because my favorite show was going to be on that night. I remember it was a Tuesday, and she wanted to go to some hotel meeting, and I was like, I ain't going to no meeting with these folks, and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? For the next, I don't know how many years, oh my gosh, super successful, and you were able to be a stay-at-home mom for, I don't know, 8 years? So all because, we were willing, and I came kicking and screaming, willing to do something different, okay? So number 6, so 5 is be open to trying a new thing that you've never done. But number 6 is embrace yourself, including your imperfections. A lot of times we say things like, yeah, but if I could change this about myself. Yeah, but I have this problem. Have you ever noticed that if someone pays you a compliment, are you able to receive that compliment? I really had to think about this thing for me, because so often, I wasn't able to accept compliments. Somebody would say, you know what? Well, you really did a good job. And I would say, well, you didn't see how hard I worked.
Right.
Instead of accepting the compliment. So what I had to learn is I had to learn to embrace myself, including my imperfections. Mm-hmm. So, and when you embrace your total self, it allows you to do something about your imperfections. Okay? It's actually liberating. There's some things about me that I love, and there's some things about me that I'd like to change. Well, you know what? I have to embrace all of it. I have to appreciate all of it. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because we all have things that we're dealing with, we're battling with, Absolutely. And that we want to get better at.
Absolutely. It's a really hard thing to love your whole self. Mm-hmm. And that may be something that we can spend some time on in some future topics, really about completely loving and accepting ourselves, because it's one of the things that actually holds us back from reaching our full potential and or capacity in whatever it is that we may dream that we can do.
Yeah. And okay, so that's all the time we've got on that. So embrace yourself, including your imperfection. 7 is turn your hobby into a hustle. And so, a lot of people say, well, George, I love to act, or I love to do comedy, or I love to make things. Okay? And they say, well, I don't have the opportunity to act, or I don't have the opportunity to make things and sell them. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? Do it for free. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do it for free. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if it's something that you would do for free, you actually get that enjoyment out of it. Then you know that that's something that you really enjoy doing, something that speaks to you. If it's something that you would do for free, whether you got paid for it or not.
Right, and it's not work, and you'll do it long enough until you're good enough, and one day it'll be requested.
Absolutely.
People will want it because they were here. You know, I look at so much. I remember hearing this story about this guy that was on YouTube, and he would rap while he cooked breakfast. So he'd be rapping, I'm cooking eggs, I'm cooking bacon, and blah, 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 blah. And the guy, I mean, he was good.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if he started out being good.
Right.
But because he enjoyed it so much, he was willing to be bad at it, but continue to practice and continue to work on it to the point where he got this deal with, and I saw on a reality show where he got a deal, and he was signed by Burger King to do a commercial where he was rapping about a croissant sandwich.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I think about the other lady that you listened to.
It just reminded me of the lady who cooks. Oh my gosh, Aunt somebody. I can't think of her name. She was sick recently. Who just cooks in her house, and her grandson or nephew or somebody videotapes her and they post it on YouTube, and she has all these videos on cooking, and she's just at her house. She's very, very casual. I think sometimes her hair may even be tied up. I mean, she's cursing and she's funny, but she's herself, and she's fussing at her grandson to get this, because I want people to really get this and understand that they can do this. And she's putting her whole self into it. So that's kind of,
right,
the same example, I guess.
You know what I figured out? Yeah, Aunt Fee.
Thank you. Yes, Aunt Fee. I cannot remember her name.
You know what I figured out? When you try to figure out what you're going to get out of it before you do it, then you don't do it with your heart.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't worry about what you're going to get.
Right.
All right? So that was 7, turning your hobby into a hustle. Number 8 is identify and play towards your strengths. Okay? And that speaks for itself. Hey, what are you good at? What do you love doing? Play towards that. And we'll talk about that in the tablet, a little bit more of that in the tablet. Number 9 is smile and look people in the eyes. A lot of little things sometimes, I think in this age of social media, and, you go in a room now and you see young, teenagers or young adults in a room, and nobody's talking to each other, but everybody's texting each other and Snapchatting each other. And I think what gets lost in all that is the eye-to-eye contact. And it's the whole, I think your self-esteem and your self-concept ties into that. I really do. Being able to look a person in the eye. There was a time when we would train our children into, looking a person in the eye, shaking their hand. That's a part of your belief in yourself, and it comes out in that most of communication is nonverbal. Okay, 35% of communication is tone, 55% of communication is body language. Okay, so eye contact and a smile. Hey, that's body. All that's body language. Which brings me to number 10. So number 9 was smile and look people in the eyes. Number 10 is check your body language. Okay, check your body language. Understand what you're communicating with your body. If 55% of communication is body language, what are you communicating?
Right.
What if you asked me, well, George, how are you doing? And I said, man, I'm doing fantastic. Well, you would be confused. You say, well, you said one thing, but looking at your facial expression, right, I'm confused. Either that or I've got something else going on with me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, walk with your head up, walk fast and intensely, walk like you've got someplace to go.
Yes.
Right? Dress for your environment. Yeah. That's another big thing. I can't stress that enough. Dress, we used to call it dress for success.
Yeah.
Okay? Dress for your next position.
Right.
Dress for where you're going. Dress for your vision for yourself. Okay? All these things has got to do with money, believe it or not. Because long before money comes, all these things come. Absolutely. All right? And recognize that every style is not for you. Okay? That's one thing I love. I don't look good. I love the guys in the skinny jeans, and I just think it's so cool, and I wish I could wear the skinny jeans, but my shape my physique is not of one that would be complimented in skinny jeans,
right,
or a skinny leg suit,
yeah,
or you follow me?
yeah.
So where, what's what that do what complements
Complementary
you,
to your body type,
right?
I mean, and you know,
And even hairstyles,
age has something to do with it
Right.
sometimes, but people kind of, those lines are kind of blurred these day and time. But you know,
Right.
that's one thing I do miss about the Oprah show. They would have those kind of etiquette type things, like women, if you're in your 40s, you know, you kind of need to have on the one piece, even though you do have a body of a 20-year-old. So things like that, I miss. But yes, hairstyles, of course, clothing, you know, workplace business attire, you know, things like see-through, spaghetti straps. I mean, I'm thinking of women type stuff, leggings,
Right.
and how the appropriate way of wearing leggings. I'm sure people have heard about the story where the people were not able to board a plane because they had on leggings. I'm not sure what.
I didn't hear that story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But
Okay.
anyway, I know we're almost out of time.
Yeah,
I want
we
to get off on
definitely
that. So we're going to move to the tablet.
We're gonna move to the tablet. So guys, that was part 2 of Man and Money. I'm gonna take the next 2 Wednesdays and focus on man and the money. These are all the things that you want to do to that comes before money. Go ahead, honey.
Okay, so our tablet last week was to make a list of things that you were good at, and then to start identifying something that might be something you can make money out of or have a business from. So from that list from last week, your tablet this week is continue working on that. So is it something that you could do for free? So on that list, you may have some things that you said, yeah, I could definitely make money at this. You know, I make blankets, or I do yard work really good and I can make money at that. But is that something you would do for free?
Right.
If nobody asked you, or you just went over to help a neighbor or something, is that something that you really would enjoy doing just for the enjoyment of doing it?
Right.
If so, that may be something that you want to explore a little more. So the next step in exploring that is do some research about, you know, what's needed to get started in the business, what's in the area, what tools, what supplies, what materials would you need, who would you need to tell, would you need some help? And those are kind of some of the bare outlines that you would need to start a small business plan, basically, to, you know, maybe earn some extra money from doing something on the side. A lot of side businesses get started at home from things that people learn. They learn to do it, or it may be a hobby. I could think of this one lady who every year at our high school, she and her husband come, and they have glassware where they do hand painted glass items. And she got started because her husband used to travel a lot, and she was alone, and she started a hobby, and her hobby was painting on glass. And so now they're both retired, and that's their business. And so they travel the eastern part of the state, but really all over North Carolina, selling their items as additional income for their business. So it started as a hobby, putting good energy to use. And so we want you to do that for your tablet for this week. And I know we are way past our time, so sorry about that.
Just 3 minutes.
Just remember that this was a public forum, so anything that you say and post is public. Thank you so much for your comments. I will go back and read all of those. I know Mr. Wilson had something in there. I couldn't see all of it. Thank you, Mr. Christopher Shell.
Yes,
And thank you, for, Mr. Joyner, for letting me know that was Aunt Fee. I forgot her name. So please remember, if you have any personal matter that you would like for us to address for you, please send an email to lifewithoutlimitscc@gmail.com, and we will look forward to seeing you next Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. And remember that we empower the people that build the relationships. Have a great rest of your week.
God bless you.